Good day, everyone. Richard Cowperthwait for Northwest Access TV. Thanks for joining us for the first of several shows as we get ready for the March 3rd Vermont Town Meeting. And happy to have some village people today, Swanton Village people, Suzie Kelleher of Swanton Village Trustee, Bill Sheets is Swanton Village Manager. Thanks for your time, folks.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks.
We're looking at the warning, I guess kind of jumping out at me, Bill, for the first time in a few years, no big ticket item on there. You have your budgets, but not a particularly big ticket item, which you've had for the last 2 years.
We wish it could be a 0% increase. We're glad that there's no bond.
Yeah, no bond this
There's
year.
certainly no big ticket item,
Yeah.
and we're essentially level funded in most areas, if not reduced. So level funded in fire department,
Yeah,
general fund and highway funds are both decreases.
really.
And then law enforcement, of course, it's
Okay.
expensive to run a police department.
Yeah.
So that's an increase. It's 5% overall.
Really, so 5% overall?
Yep.
Doesn't sound too bad.
I mean, it's still impactful. We talk all the time
Yeah.
about doing everything we can to reduce
Yeah.
those rates. But again, we are running a professional police department in an environment where I think it's needed more than ever.
Yeah. So there wouldn't be too many people who would disagree with that, do you think, out there? Or?
I don't think so. I think public safety is important. I think it should be one of our priorities.
Yeah,
I think with our police department, we still had 2 vacancies. One is now filled. We were able to fill one.
yeah,
We now still have an additional vacancy. So we had at one point in one of our meetings talked about maybe we could decrease the training budget a little bit, but then we have an individual that we're sending to the part-time academy and possibly the full-time academy in this year. So we can't, decrease the training budget. So we were looking at ways within the police department that we could cut costs in order to bring that down from the 5%, and we just didn't see a method that could happen with bringing the police department up to full strength and cutting the budget at the same time.
and of course, competitive on, if you're not paying, pretty decent wages to your officers, you're gonna probably pretty easily find another better paying job if they're out there.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. We model, you want a reference source for equity that's nearby, that's really comparable, and that's
Yeah.
St. Albans City.
Yeah,
So we match their pay.
is that right? Pretty similar pay.
Very similar pay. Our benefits are great. We think it's a great place to work. We're led by a great leader. We cut this one so thin that we're not even including cruiser
Really?
replacement. So in the event at the end of the year that we have a little bit of carry forward money,
Yeah.
we're going to do the same thing we did for the last 2, and that's on the market, go find something that's got 50 to 70,000 miles on it and buy a used one.
That's right. How many cruisers do you have?
I think it's 8 or 9.
Really?
And some of those we have the great fortune of working very closely with Border Patrol. So one full-size pickup truck and one cruiser, as well as other equipment, have been purchased by Border Patrol for our use, and that's unrestricted. It doesn't just have to be for Stone Garden. So that's been extremely beneficial, because those items for a fully outfitted brand-new cruiser now, 75 to 80,000,
Yeah.
is kind of a bargain these days.
Interesting. So again, you're down one spot in the police department, one vacancy?
One vacancy, well, it becomes vacant in July when the supervisory union picks up paying for the second SRO. So
A school resource officer?
School resource officer, yes. So, so we're down 1, and there's an individual in the pike to take that position once it becomes available, and they'll be sent to the full-time academy.
School resource officer at MVU and Mary Babcock, or just MVU?
Actually, it's
just
MVU,
Mary-
one at MVU, and
Yeah.
then we have one who goes to Mary Babcock, Highgate, and Franklin.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a great success.
Yeah.
And we, as part of this contract, we're paying for that position for the first year. And then the school will pick up 100% of that salary for the rest of the year. And remember, the trade-off is, in the summertime or any of the time when school is not in session,
Yeah.
we pick that person up to cover shifts.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Wow.
so it's a good force multiplier for us.
Sounds like a pretty good deal for you.
It is. Yep.
Boy, Maple Run, the St. Albans City Town, BFA Fairfield District, they had had some issues with school resource officers a while back, but no issues with you guys. This seems to be positions that are supported pretty well.
Oh, no, I think they're very well supported.
Yeah.
We have Dean Scott, who's been at Missisquoi for several years now. And, we have Chad Para, who does the elementary schools. And, I have not heard any, backlash or anything bad about Officer Para working in the elementary school.
Yeah. I did interview, and thanks, Bill, you recommended trying to get a couple chiefs together, but I really enjoyed my fairly recent interview with Chief Sullivan.
Yeah, he's doing a great job.
My only mistake was just did a half hour. We could have knocked off an hour easily, but
Yep.
no, he was great.
Yep.
And anyway, I should also note, no contest in Swanton Village with incumbents, some incumbents running for re-election. David Winchester running for another term as village president, Diane Day, village clerk, Betty Cheney, collector of delinquent taxes, and a change coming up on the board of trustees. Adam Paxman deciding not to run again, and Damon Broderick, the one candidate who will succeed him. You're going to miss Adam, I'm sure, big time.
15 years of dedicated service.
Wow.
His last meeting, and we'll certainly honor him, is next Monday night. He's looking forward to having a little farewell send-off on this show. So hopefully you can get him in March.
I'll definitely, in fact, I was going to ask you for his number if I don't have it. I'll definitely get him after his term ends.
Yep, but
as I
he's,
did with Gene LaFountain.
Great impact, and I think we're very fortunate to have somebody of Damon's caliber running.
Yeah.
Very engaged, goes to nearly every meeting and has for probably a year or two.
Wow, he probably doesn't have a whole lot of company doing that, does he?
No.
Often alone.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, often
good-
the lone guy
good for him.
in the crowd.
Yep.
And I was thinking the other day, it's funny because you always used to tease him about being in the police department, and if he wins, or when he wins, he will become the commissioner of the police department.
That's true.
Oh, is that right?
That's true.
That's right. Had he thought about running before?
I don't think Damon thought about running before, but him and I had some conversations, and I know he had conversations with some others. So Damon was on the beautification committee with me. I don't know if that can continue once he becomes a member of the board of trustees. Just not that we talk about village business during beautification, but just the way it looks.
Yep.
I had spoken to him because I just thought that he would be a good fit when Gene was going to step down before Neil had put his hat in the ring.
Yeah.
So this has been like a year probably in progress.
Yeah. Anyway, so no contest, so a new person coming onto the Board of Village Trustees.
Yeah, and we look forward to fresh ideas and a fresh perspective, and just like I'm sure. I think I took Adam and Jean by surprise when I came on the board, and with some of my ideas and perspectives. But I think we're a good group, and I think we all support each other and support giving each other room to express our ideas and what we see for the village in the future.
Right. You'd be up for re-election next year, Suzie?
Yes, next
I
year.
realize it's a year ahead of time, but I know you've given this job a lot of attention. Would you like to think you'd be staying in this job for a while?
I do think that I would like another term. I was kind of going back and forth about it, but I do think I was. I said to Adam, "What do you think?" And he's like, "You better run." So
That's what I say.
So I think I will give it another term, and then reevaluate at the end of that. I don't imagine anybody wants to see me sit in the seat for 20 years. I think turnover kind of keeps things going, but I have learned a lot. When you're sitting on the other side of the table and you think, oh, it'd be great if we could just level fund everything, but then you have to take into consideration cost of living increases for the people that work for you, and all that stuff. So when you see who it impacts and how it impacts them, it's I think you have to take into consideration both sides of the fence, the voters and the taxpayers, but also the people that work for you. And it's a really fine line to walk as the trustee.
So you're pretty comfortable, you said, what, a 5% budget increase? You think you did pretty well to
I
keep it to that?
think we did the best that we could under the circumstances.
Yeah. Well, and I should remind, a lot of folks are aware of this, but again, the municipal side of the budget's about 1/4 of one's tax bill, with the school roughly 3/4.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, good luck to the legislature figuring out the education issue. I love talking to these folks, and I wish them luck. It just seems such hopeless to me, but of course, I'm a glass half empty guy, but boy, a tough issue. We'll
It's
see.
a challenge for sure.
Boy, a challenge, yeah, put it mildly. In my old age, I'm almost afraid to ask questions like this, but Swanton Village residents are also, of course, residents of Swanton Town, which is to say they'll be voting on the local option tax.
Yeah.
Yep.
And anyway, I know you folks are talking about that for a while, but does that look like a good move? Was board unanimous? Of course, it's not on your ballot. But
Yeah, it's not on our ballot, but in the
You
meetings
obviously
that
talked
we've
about it.
had with the town is
Yeah.
that we support them going forward with the local option tax.
Yeah.
And then we came up with a division of how the town would share with us.
And the village gets about what, about 1/4 of the.
23%.
23%.
Well,
Yeah, 23.
yeah.
So we do it by the grand list, the way that we split the
Right.
cost of the fire department.
Right.
And so, we're on board with it because we feel like we could use the local option tax funds to do a lot of the capital improvement projects that we have in the pipe. So
Yeah.
I'm talking like Merchants Row, streetscaping, Church Street, bike paths. We have a municipal parking lot we're trying to get. The bridge is coming up again. Canada Street, streetscaping that needs to be done. And, while we talk about streetscaping as in like it's going to look nice, it's also because it's a major area for where we've had crashes. So it's not just like we're doing this because we want it to look pretty. We're doing it because something needs to be done in order to calm traffic and to make it safer for drivers and pedestrians in those areas.
Bill, sounds like would you like to see this get passed and have a few more bucks to play with, so to speak?
Yeah, I mean, it still has the word tax,
Yeah.
but depending on who you talk to,
Yeah.
maybe up to 50% is transitory folks that are visiting your community
Yeah.
and passing through and using your resources.
Yeah.
So it should ultimately be a relief to our taxpayers.
Yeah.
And we're trying to invest a lot. Everybody's commenting on how good the downtown core looks.
Yeah.
And we've got about $1.8 million in funding that we're pumping into it. That's grant funding.
Yeah.
But of course, that comes with a match, about $400,000, $450,000. It will help us offset that so we don't have to go to the taxpayers to get that type of matching funds.
Yeah. What are you picking up? I know basically nobody showed up at the public info meeting. What a surprise. How many of those did I cover by myself for decades? But what's your sense of the voter sentiment on that, Suzie? Have you got a sense?
I haven't really heard anything negative about
Yeah.
it. I think that the people who realize what the local option tax does see, what our neighboring communities who have it are able to do with their local option
Well,
tax.
St. Albans Town, of course, comes right to
Town,
mind. Paying for the
exactly.
town hall,
Town.
the public works garage,
City,
no
yeah.
property tax, and city's done well.
Right. So I think that, it definitely shows what can be done with a local option tax as far as, a tax, relieving the tax burden on the taxpayer and still allowing us to do the things the capital improvement projects that we need to get done.
Yeah. And what would the village's take be if in the first full year if this gets passed?
Roughly $75,000.
75,000.
Yeah, so it's not comparable to other communities, but 75,000 for us,
Hey.
that's
That's
a
a lot.
good portion toward
Yeah.
toward match.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll see what happens. So that's certainly one of the big issues in front of townspeople and, for that matter,
Us,
village people. Most villagers who vote in the village meeting presumably vote in the town meeting too, or?
Oh, yeah,
I think-
because when you go in, you get both.
So you get them at the same
ballots.
time, so
Yeah.
they typically do it at the same
Correct.
time.
Yep.
And again, we're talking voting, of course, 7 to 7
7 to 7.
at the village municipal complex? Or-
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Tuesday, March
auditorium.
3rd.
Yep.
And early voting is underway also?
Yes, you go
Okay.
in and see Diane and vote.
In
Yeah.
person,
In
early,
person.
or absentee
Yep.
still.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or as a reporter, I mean, I love to see turnouts. I'm almost afraid to just see a typical turnout, especially you have no contest in the village. Talking not even 20%, are we talking teens maybe percent for the village?
If we
My-
got 20%,
my-
I'd be surprised.
I'd be
I'm even
surprised too,
pushing it,
yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
teens
Yeah,
somewhere.
I think the biggest
Right.
voting turnout that we had was 2 years ago.
When you had, of course, a
With
contest.
the bond,
And a
with
bond,
the
and a bond.
with the bond for
Oh.
the public safety building.
Okay.
I think that was the biggest turnout. And then
Yep.
last year, I think it dropped.
Yeah, I'd love to see 50%, but I
Right.
just can't
Yeah, not
imagine
happening.
it.
Boy, yeah, again, it's discouraging to me as an observer. If I was anyway, we'll move on. So nothing too out of the ordinary in the regular village budget, Bill?
No, again, fire department shows down on paper if you're
Really?
going into the village ballot, but that's because we moved dispatching services in a new formula.
Okay.
St. Albans City did a new formula, and they're incorporating all emergency response, fire, and rescue into one bill. So
Yeah.
that goes directly to the town, evenly borne by all taxpayers. So it's just an easier solution. Everything else, like I said, is going down with the exception of the police, and that's going up for the obvious reasons of salary and benefits and insurance and workers' compensation and all of those things that are essentially, if you want to run a professional organization, you have to pay.
Yeah. And Swanton Village PD, of course, covering Swanton Town, where there was a very close vote in the town 2 years ago.
Much better last year.
Yeah, much,
And the situation for all operational aspects of the budget,
yeah,
they get 1/3 of all our shifts. So we
Okay.
do 2 10-hour shifts in the village, and then we're on call.
yeah.
In the town, they get 10-hour contract, 365 days a year.
Huh.
So they're still getting, it's gone up, and on paper for them, it does look like a lot,
Yeah,
but they're getting half of a full-time law enforcement organization for that price. It's a good price.
yeah. When Swanton Village PD, when your folks are not out there covering, the state police, do they roll into town once in a while? I mean, they'll come in if needed.
they
And of course,
cover the
you've got your
town for the
state police
other-
background.
They cover the town for the uncovered hours.
They
That's
do.
the first call from dispatch.
And there's really a presence there. When you say they cover, I mean,
Yeah, I think,
they're in tough shape.
I don't think
staffing-wise,
I don't
too.
think it's the same coverage well, I know it's not the same coverage that they're getting from us for those 10 hours, but it's not that they're not there
But
and
there
they're
is some coverage.
responsive.
There is some visible coverage.
I think there is, let's call it more emergency coverage.
Okay.
Probably not as proactive as the community would like. And for the village, we're covered 24/7. Even if we're not on, we are called out and we are expected to police our own community
Oh,
with
is that
our
right?
own officers.
So any village, so it's going to be village people dealing with village situations?
Correct, and
Village
that
officers?
continuity is important for us. Otherwise, when you have even though everybody gets along and there's great coordination and cooperation,
Yeah,
you can't help but know that things are going to get lost in the translation with investigations where state police are covering these 2 burglaries,
Yeah.
and down the road, Swanton PD during the night is covering these 2 burglaries.
yeah,
It's just there's not enough time in the day for everybody to compare notes on every crime. I love the fact that we're 24/7 in our own community.
yeah. Right, interesting. Can you picture the day if you're at fully staffed? I know Highgate flipped over from St. Albans City PD to the Sheriff's Department. Could you picture Swanton Village PD going after, say, Highgate in the future, for example, or?
I don't know that we're going to go
Yeah,
after
we've talked about
anybody.
regional policing once in a
Yeah,
while.
it's, I'll say it again for the record. Regionalized policing is going to be the only remaining answer for us to meet the needs for law enforcement in Vermont in the very near future.
And
within
Bill,
the
talk
next
about that
decade.
some more. What do you mean by regional policing? Give me a model for this.
The
Any
model
models?
is simple yet very hard to get there. So I'm really confident that if next time on your show, for example,
Yeah.
after July 1st, we'll be able to look at you and say, we're fully staffed now.
Yeah.
In fact, we're probably, again, ideally suited to have a waiting list of folks that want to come into the
Oh,
organization.
really? Wow.
All it's going to take, and this is a lot,
Yeah.
is communities like Highgate and Swanton and any other surrounding communities say, you know what, we want 24/7 coverage.
Yeah.
That's the difficulty. Having a community, so Swanton, for example, it's a large ask of them to go from what they're enjoying now for about a $575,000 a year contract for 10 hours
Yeah.
to more than double that to go to 24/7.
Wow.
And remember, we can't simply just say, we can go here for 20 hours, we can go here for 20 hours. To staff for that, you got to hire multiple full-time people with benefits, and that cost is going to be borne by the Village of Swanton. So you need a Highgate and a Swanton to recognize that there's some cost savings across the board if everybody was all in.
Yeah.
Pretty hard, though, for a governance structure to go to their community and say, this is going to be great, we're going to have comprehensive law enforcement coverage, but you know how you were paying just this down here? Now we're going to ask you to pay this.
Yeah.
Where we would love it, our governance structure would be, we're going to reduce our cost in the village because we're going to cost share with outside communities. But we will get there at some point, and we'll be forced to get there because the number of people that want to do law enforcement now is in a steady decline. That's the reality of it.
Yeah. But you're not seeing any hopeful signs there. That's still pretty much on the decline. No comeback at all to people wanting to be officers.
I still think it's one of the most noble professions you can have.
And of course,
there's
you've got a
still
long state police background yourself, of course.
30 years in the
Wow.
state police, and I still think it's a great job, but, you know, it's hyper scrutinized.
Yeah.
You're under the microscope 24/7. You're always on videotape.
Yeah.
There's no love fest for being a police officer
I
now.
bet.
Yeah, and
And-
I was surprised the last.
And of course,
the last
Suzie, in
police-
your case, your dad.
Yeah, the last police
former
academy
sheriff.
actually graduated 15 troopers, which
Yeah.
is a lot.
In the old days, that number was way higher than that, correct? Or
Always in the 20s
Always
usually.
in the
so not
Yeah.
way
Yeah.
higher.
Right.
I mean, it was higher, but I mean, just to see that for a moment, I was like, oh, we're having a bounce back.
Yep.
I don't know
Yeah.
how many troopers are in the class that's going on right now, but I do know my son works in Brandon PD, and they have
right.
they have one going through
Yeah.
at this time. So, but it's hard to get people who want to be in law enforcement, and or you get somebody who wants to, but they can't pass all of the
Right.
parts that they need to pass in order
Yep.
to come into the fold.
And the training, if you hire someone, we're talking, it could be months before that person is actually working between the police academy and various training, or depending on their background,
Before
obviously.
they're on their own, it's a year.
Is that already
Really,
a
before
year?
they're fully operating on
Really?
their own, their off-field training.
Wow.
And the process itself is not easy, nor should it be, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're
Sure.
putting people's lives on the line. You have to
Yeah.
have somebody that can communicate. Gone are
Yeah.
the days where you got to be 6'4" and it's not brawn, it's brain now.
Yeah.
It's your ability to communicate, think on your feet, and you're a problem solver. And you got to have somebody that wants to get in there. And there's the written test. There's the PT test,
Oh.
there's the polygraph, there's the background,
Wow.
there's
And
the
then PI.
psychological profile.
Yeah.
And then you go through the academy, come out, you got 36 days on an FTO program, field training officer program. And at about the year mark, they hand you the keys when you show that you're capable and you're on your own.
Wow. Boy, so it's a very rigorous process, obviously.
It is, yeah.
Well, at least the pay. I mean, the pay seems like it's obviously up. It sounds like, it's just pay-wise, it's a decent job to have, I can only assume, is
A
lot of jobs go.
We've tried to keep them commensurate with St. Albans PD because, like we discussed earlier, it's so much easier, if you're underpaying your police officers by $10, they can go 8 miles down the road and
Sure.
get $8 more, and I don't think that Mo would turn away somebody who is fully level 3 certified
That's
and
right.
ready to go, who
Right.
just needs, a month or two of FTO time to learn, the grid and the climate of St. Albans PD. So that's what you're up against. So that's why we're up against a 5% increase, is because we want to retain the people that we have in order to keep our department whole.
Yeah. Border Patrol, well, they'll obviously helpful to have those folks around, but are there a number of times that they'll come in and help out Swanton Village PD with stuff and vice versa, or is that doesn't happen too often?
It doesn't happen too often. You
Yeah.
know, it's the same adage, and I get, throughout Vermont, throughout the nation, there's a divide.
Yeah.
We don't have that divide.
Yeah.
An officer, regardless of the department they work for, does not care what the patch on the uniform is.
Yeah,
When
it's
there's a
good.
critical incident,
Yeah.
literally
Yeah.
gunfight,
Yeah.
and you look to your left or your right, it doesn't matter
Yeah.
who it is, they're there to back you up.
Yeah.
And in any emergent situation, we back them up and they back us up, and it's been a great relationship.
Yeah.
I do know that occasionally in that on-call period, BP might answer a call while the Swanton officer is coming from
Yeah.
their home, and that's
Yeah.
critical. That relationship that we have with Border Patrol is critical for any border town, really, to have that relationship where you can count on an agent to show up and kind of get the groundwork before you get on on scene, or just to have that backup. I remember when I was the deputy sheriff, I was constantly backed up by Agent Russ McCart. Almost any call that I went to, he would show up, and it just that relationship has been ongoing between BP and the agencies around here.
Did you ever think about going back and do law enforcement?
Oh, no.
No?
No, we'll leave it to the kids now.
Interesting. And speaking of BP and Swanton, again, Chief Sullivan talked quite a bit about Stone Garden, which
Yep.
you mentioned,
Yeah.
but that would certainly seem to help facilitate the relationship between Swanton, the police, regular police, and BP.
Yeah, absolutely. They have a need that's unfilled.
Yeah.
We have the time on overtime reimbursed 100%
Yeah.
to include salary, benefits, wear and tear on equipment. It serves to cement the relationship, I believe.
Yeah. Speaking of, just being near the border here, any border issues coming up? The border getting a lot of attention, but nothing kind of jumping out at you in Swanton about folks coming across the border or anything?
Oh, you're talking about
I know
people
Swanton
who
got some
coming
attention
in
some time
without
ago.
entry without
Yeah.
inspection. I haven't heard a lot of that. Most of the entries without inspections that I've heard about are happening on the New York side, or they're happening in like Franklin, West Berkshire, out
Oh, yeah.
towards the Richford port of entry.
Yeah.
So I haven't really heard of a whole lot in our area, but I do remember a hot spot being around St. Armand Road in the Horn. But I don't know if that's as hot as it used to be.
Yeah.
And now I'm just pulling off from the fact that I have people that work in Customs and Border Protection and the operations field operations office, and just things that I've heard in passing. So I do know that was a hot spot, but I haven't heard anything in a while. And I do know that Highgate POE is being redone at
It's
some
being
point.
redone.
I was about to ask you about that. Is there a time frame? We're going to see something going on this year with that?
I don't have a time frame.
Oh, no.
I know we are working with them to right size and verify our grid is up to speed to service what they need.
Yeah.
So they're putting in some increased size transformers and things like that.
Huh.
We had a brief conversation with them. It was cost prohibitive about bringing water up there, and it was
All right, forget it. Huh?
$15-20 million. Yeah, just
But that's Swanton Village Electric serves the border? Is that,
Yes.
Oh,
Yep.
is that right?
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we're talking X number of millions of dollars was supposedly allocated for that.
Yeah.
Anyway, but no
Yeah,
sign
big,
of
big project.
Yeah. Canadian traffic seems like it's obviously down. Is that apparent to you folks, just with seeing fewer Quebec flights around, or?
You're definitely seeing fewer Quebec plates around, but I do know that there are, there's the people that have cross-border business that are always coming
Yeah.
across. Like, there's some doctors and nurses and school teachers that live in Canada and Quebec and work here. So you're going to constantly have that cross-border traffic going on.
Boy, too bad. It sounds like Canadian traffic clearly is down, and I can only assume that hurts, to some extent, probably just about every retail business in
Absolutely,
Swanton.
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Boy, it doesn't look like that situation's changing anytime soon.
Not for a few more years.
Yeah. I'd be remiss if I didn't talk Highgate Falls.
Oh, really? You have
Damn.
to?
Yeah.
Any? Is it clear what the next step is, Bill, or where are we right now?
This keeps me up at night.
Sorry, I don't mean to keep you up any longer than you're up.
No, we really have to look at it as an opportunity, much the same as, we did a water upgrade. We're in the middle, almost finished a complete renovation of wastewater.
Yeah.
Well,
right.
for the powerhouse, right, we're talking, it's been about 40 years. It's time to invest, and that's absent from the rubber dam.
So this is aside from the dam.
It is.
Yeah,
So
we're talking about our generators.
This is in the Ormany Croft generating facility.
Yes.
Yep. So right now, we are producing literally about 1/10 of our capacity.
Boy, I was going to, of course, ask you that. Is that right? 1/10?
1/10.
Yeah.
Typically, you're more like about 70, 80% or so, or depending?
Well, I'm just talking about this snapshot, this moment in time. So
Okay.
last year, we had a really good first half of the year, and then in June, our world changed.
Right.
That's the reality. Our ability, we lost 15 and a half feet of head,
Wow.
where the water we could pond and get things through the intake without a lot of debris and silt.
Yeah.
And those days are now gone. So the interim, we're doing a number of things. We got a $60,000 grant to do a planning grant to identify how we should prioritize upgrades and needs in the powerhouse itself. So that's unit 1 through 4. That's the exciters, which are the starters, essentially. The main brain of the unit, that's essentially your alternator. And then the turbines really are what makes it go and you generate power. They're all in various states of need. And we have to prioritize those because we have to be ready for spring runoff. So we'll still be able to generate. But last year, we still covered 52% of our load.
Really?
The problem now is we have the same plant, we have the same everything, but with the rubber dam gone and our anticipated power supply cost, right? So every kilowatt, megawatt hour we do not cover, we have to go out on the open market
Sure.
through our partners in VEPSA, Vermont Public Power Supply,
Yeah.
and purchase at 100% renewable rate because we're 100% renewable and it's critically important that we remain in that category. So we have to buy within that category, which you pay a premium.
No, really. You have to do that.
You have to do
Otherwise, we
that.
lose our renewable energy. I don't want to call it a certificate, but I think
It's,
there's
because we're 100% renewable, we don't have to pay tier 2 or tier 4 credits. The valuation on that is roughly $5.5 million over 15 years. The premium, when I say the premium, it's not that much. It's a couple dollars a megawatt hour more. It's not so much so it becomes cost, ineffective cost. So we're looking at all of that stuff, and then as importantly, maybe even more importantly, right, we're looking at what the next steps are for the rubber dam. So we put out a couple things. We hired an owner's representative who is a outstanding expert in this field that's going to guide us through this process. We put out an RFQ for experts in the field to come in that are engineers that say, hey, here's what we think you should do. All the site visits have been done. By the 23rd, we will pick the top 3. By March 2nd, we will give them a final homework assignment. And they're doing this gratis for now, so it's not to get to like 30%. It's to get to, say, 10 or 15%. So they will come in and present to us the winning person and say, here's what you have in store. So working with our expert and whoever's hired, the options will range from do nothing, which means here's your concrete now 15 and a half feet lower. Here's your new problem with your intake, your geometry, all of the restrictions. And then there will be a couple of alternatives somewhere in the middle and the cost. And by the way, a final alternative to the trustees will be, oh, by the way, on the open market, we think the value of the entire facility is X, so you might want to consider selling. Which I would never say that they should do.
If you mentioned, I think you might have mentioned that to me before.
Right.
Interesting.
The very
And-
interesting
And if you
part,
did that, there are presumably buyers out there for that?
probably very limited, but it
Yeah.
would be maybe one of the big two, maybe a GMP or
Oh,
VEC, or maybe an
Interesting.
independent. But this long term, we need to get back to what makes, in addition to our people,
Yeah.
this ability to produce our own electricity made us special. That's
I mean,
why
it's a
today
huge,
we're the
huge part of
lowest,
Swanton
It is.
Village.
lowest rate in the state of Vermont.
Right.
The interim looks something like this.
Wow.
There's probably something we can do temporarily, once we hire this person, this year,
Huh.
to get some flashboards up. They're not really flashboards. It's like flashboards on steroids.
Huh.
It literally is be something of a design where there's some I-beams, metal I-beams. And again, this is navigating permissions with the state of Vermont and FERC, spaced 8 to 10 feet apart. And then you're dropping in these 4x4s or 6x6s or something like that. And you're then increasing your head, your water pool, 6, 7, 8 feet.
Oh, really?
The back of the envelope configuration, if that were to be successful,
Yeah,
we think we could produce 80% of what we did before,
really?
while we look for the more long-term solution,
Huh.
which is
Wow.
engineered. It's going to take years.
Yeah,
I signed a 4-year contract. I am going to be shocked if I'm here in
Really?
this seat
wow,
when we have the final solution in place.
Wow.
That's how long this stuff takes.
wow.
So the trustees are going to have a big decision to make, because at some point, we're going to get public involvement. So we're going to see an increase in power rates right now, because we have to go out in the open market and buy
Sure.
many megawatt hours to make up for
Sure.
what we're missing.
Yeah,
But we hope to get to the point where we level off, and then this long-term repair restores us, so we become stagnant again in terms of rates. We just want to be neutral and get back to where we were. We got to remind people, we didn't have a rate increase for 10 years. Then we
Right.
did a baby increase. And now there's going to be
in the
probably
queue for
2
a bit.
years in a row where
Yeah.
we're going to have a significant increase because of the circumstances.
and these expenses are all hooked into the Swanton Village Electric Department as opposed to Swanton Village, right? It's just the.
Correct. So it's the
electric
3,800
department.
ratepayers,
Oh,
Highgate, Swanton, Swanton
Right.
Village, a
Right.
little bit of St. Albans, not much, like 5.
Well, I'm glad I asked you that, Bill. Thanks for giving us the
Yeah, I'm
update.
only 28 years old, but look at me.
Look at him.
Is the rubber dam, the remains of it, is that gone? Did they get,
I think
Completely
he has some
gone.
in his
Com-
office.
Oh, yes, I have some samples. Maybe
want
I can,
these?
I can bring you
Oh,
a
is that
sample
right?
of that,
that's
but,
right, might be cool to have a sample.
no, the
So that's gone.
largest, the large pieces were all hauled off. We gave them away for free. A lot
Oh,
of folks,
really?
farmers or
Interesting.
equipment places, they gobbled them up. Very heavy, like
Yeah.
thousands of pounds per
Really?
10 by 10 sheet. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Well, and meanwhile, of course, you're still trying to get relicensed from FERC, Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. Does that process go, has this affected that?
It has
Just
not,
delayed that,
it has
or-
not affected it. We're
No?
approaching it as, we're asking to be relicensed in both processes. So FERC, and now it's in 401, so it's water quality with the state of Vermont. We're asking to be relicensed at our previous height
Ah,
with no restrictions.
oh, yeah.
Even though, honestly, we don't know. We may get the expert that comes in and says, it doesn't have to be 15 feet. Maybe it's 12 feet. Maybe it's 13. Maybe it's 11. We don't know yet. There's probably a sweet spot there where you do a cost-benefit analysis. We're not sure what that looks like yet.
Huh.
We have a long way to go. And this is a significant portion of every single day right now. We're in that part where it is a grind, but it is an opportunity. We still have the bones and the equipment of a crown jewel
Yeah.
in that hydro facility. We just have to get it back to where it needs to be.
And meanwhile, you still have folks in state government and Output who would love for you to get rid of the lower village dam, which the good folks in the village have shown that they strongly support keeping.
Right.
But is that issue, that never goes away, or?
It doesn't go away, and I will certainly let Trustee Kelleher speak for her, but I at least believe I have convinced the trustees that listening is free. So let's bring every special interest group in
Yeah,
after town meeting day at some point to be determined in maybe May. And let's hear from their perspective as to why it's beneficial.
yeah.
With no commitment,
Right.
but I think they do want to commit
Uh.
to funding a 3D modeling study, which I think is beneficial for any entity, to show us what it would look like at 100-year levels, up and down, what the entire, from the Highgate Falls Dam all the way to the mouth of the Missisquoi,
Yeah.
and what the river would look like, 3D modeled,
Yeah.
probably $200,000 study. Let's
Interesting.
get that for free so we all have a better understanding. So,
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I'm willing to listen to anybody. I don't have my mind pre-made up, but I do, know that a lot of people, especially, the elders of Swanton Village, feel like that's a historical part of our village. So I think a 3D model would not only help me see better what people anticipate the riverbed looking like with the lower dam out, but it will help the elders in the community see that as well.
Interesting. Well, Lake Champlain in the news finally got a freeze over for the first time since, I guess,
Yes.
2019 or so.
yeah.
Yeah, it's been a pretty legit winter kind of for a change. You're holding up okay dealing with winter, plowing, stuff like that?
They've been really busy,
I
our
bet.
public works team, and
bet.
with this frost and this level of chaos in the ground, remember they're full public works, so some issues with water, a lot of issues with water actually,
Yeah.
some with sewer. Our salt supply's doing okay. We're forced to be a little bit creative. We're doing a mix that we normally wouldn't do. It's a
Yeah.
little heavier on the sand end than the salt, but I think everybody in the village has been really patient in terms of working with us. And we're at that point in the winter where even for the police, people seem to just drive better by now
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
more cautiously.
Yeah.
Interesting. Health of downtown. Suzie, what do you think about health of downtown these days?
I think that the downtown is doing really well, and
Yeah.
we got a couple new businesses coming in on Merchants Row.
Yeah.
Renee Coffee is taking one of her one of her buildings, and she's kind of dividing it. And there's more businesses going into that area where the Swan Rex Hall used to be. So, we're anticipating that and looking forward to that, which is why doing 74 Merchants Row as our municipal parking lot is going to be very important, because it's not only going to support those businesses, but the whole downtown as a whole. And the bistro is doing fantastic. From what I heard, they were sold out on Valentine's Day. I think everyone's doing very well downtown, and I would like to see that continue.
Yeah.
So what did you just mention? A parking issue downtown? That you
Yeah,
were,
so
talk about that some more.
So we, before I came on the board, 74 Merchants Row was purchased by the Board of Trustees to become a municipal parking lot.
Huh.
So we have looked at a possible design for the parking lot. We also had discussions with Renee, because we actually own more land than we thought. And so the land that we own is everything that's beside Merchants Row, and then it goes behind Renee's building, and also the building owned by the Masons
Masonic
Lodge.
Lodge, yep.
So we've been in talks with those two about the use of the parking spaces that are going to be behind the parking lot to be available for tenants and business owners. And then the remainder of the parking area, which is on the corner of, is that River? No.
Nope,
Ferry.
Ferry, correct.
Is going to be the new municipal parking lot. So we want to get it shovel ready so that we can put in for more grants, and be able to, because most grants have to have it be shovel ready. So that's our plan with 74 Merchants Row.
It's a big project. It's a very small lot. Well, it's a very small lot now.
Right.
It can be expanded both out toward Ferry, and it's on the Village Green side of Merchants Row. And then behind, we are about to enter in a contract this week VHB for preliminary engineering, so it'll at least be, concept ready. And we think that 24 to 27 parking spots, so badly needed in that
Is that right?
village core.
They are, I'm not in Swanton that much, but
Yeah.
parking's never been.
We have a problem now,
Oh,
and that's
all right.
that's with Gordon Winters and Ace Hardware being
Well,
very gracious.
I guess that's good
to
to
park-
hear in a way, obviously. Huh?
Yeah, it's. I think every community wants a parking problem.
Yeah.
And then too,
Yeah.
with some of the traffic calming situations that we're working with VHB for Merchants Row, Canada and Church, there's a loss of a few parking spots because of the traffic calming elements.
Huh.
So that's why 74 becomes even
Okay.
more important, because I believe I counted a loss of like 12 parking spots. So that's what, doing this is going to be important for
Yeah,
the downtown core.
for sure.
I guess there was some hope anyway that truck traffic might go down a bit with the improvement of roads just north of the border, road to Montreal. Any sign of that happening?
I don't think we'll know one way or the other till we see the surveys,
Yeah.
Yeah.
the traffic surveys,
Yeah.
and I'm not sure when that's going to happen again.
But I guess the last segment, of course, I'm forgetting the route number, but just north of the Highgate Springs border,
Yeah.
they're done all they're going to do, I guess?
Yes.
Yeah.
I hope
Anyway.
it lessens, for sure.
That would be
Yeah.
that would be nice. The bridge project, the Route 78. I've got the right highway here, I think. The
Yep,
Route
you do.
78 bridge project.
Yep.
How far away is that? Not too far away.
No, not in the scope of long-term projects,
Yeah.
but likely 29, could be as
Yeah,
early
so
as 28. But I
few
think
years.
now we officially got moved to 29 in the latest correspondence,
Yeah.
which is fine by us, but
Right.
great project as
Yeah.
long as the undercarriage is good, and it appears to be. You're talking about a resurfacing, but brand new sidewalks, brand new railings, and our cost right now is 2.5%, about $142,000.
Yeah.
And it gives us time to meet the
to meet
match.
the match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so it's still a few years away.
Yeah.
Yes.
Swanton Village Post Office. Not that you're in charge of that, I don't think, but a number of communities. St. Albans City Postal Service is fully staffed, but I keep running into friends who get Swanton mail, who have Swanton addresses, who are not getting mail every day. You hearing about that issue a bit?
Actually, I was at the post office maybe last week
Huh.
when I overheard the post lady telling one of the customers that
Yeah.
they had somebody who was hired and then he was sick, and so it was
Didn't work out too well.
a month of that he couldn't deliver the mail, so they kind of had a backlog. So I don't exactly know where that stands, but that was just a little conversation that I overheard. I do believe that they are still understaffed, because my mailman maybe comes by every other day. I think.
So you're definitely not getting it close to every day.
No, it's almost every other day.
My dad would
Really?
be horrified. He was a proud employee there for 27
Oh,
years.
is that right?
And that
Wow.
mail went every day except for Sunday, of
Yeah.
course.
How are you
Yeah.
doing? How are you doing in Alberg, Bill, with mail?
It's been good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's daily there. I see the mailman pretty much every day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
St. Albans City seems like they're
Yeah.
fully staffed. I guess they haven't had any problem, but I hear about that in other towns too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Franklin for sure, but
Yeah.
again, imagine somebody not being fully staffed these days.
Yeah.
Plenty of
And
company.
again,
I
it's,
guess.
it's that situation with when you're hiring government employees, or it's just like hiring police employees. You have you have to pass background check. You have to, especially for working for the federal government, even though marijuana is illegal in the state of Vermont, you cannot be smoking marijuana while working for the federal government. So, there's all these levels that, you might have somebody who wants to deliver the mail, but they have to pass all these checks in order to be able to do it. So I don't, I don't blame the Postal Service. I think that they're doing the best that they can with, what they can do.
I think they do a good job. I never have any beef with the
Yeah.
postal folks. I should know we're taping this show on Tuesday, Feb 17, in case there are any huge issues that come up after the show that people are wondering why I'm not asking you folks about. I'm sure another issue you love to talk about, Hotel Riv property, the former Hotel Riv
Yep.
property. You got some progress there, Bill?
Some progress, I think.
Does winter slow things down with any?
No, the
No?
slowdown there was essentially waiting for zoning bylaws to change. So we are in an agreement, at least in concept, with Habitat. And Habitat
I
is
said
looking
that.
to get permission to do some creative housing there, so kind of a cottage housing concept. I believe they're going to be scheduled to go in front of the DRB zoning very soon, maybe in the next month or two. If all goes well, then the next big decision for us is to determine if we, as the village, or they as Habitat, or maybe even collaboratively, have to navigate that last big step, which is brownfields remediation.
Oh,
And we were just told, we're putting a new electric building next door at 124 First Street. We
Huh.
break ground in April.
oh, yeah.
We were told last minute that the brownfield remediation funding that we were hoping to get, to include petroleum cleanup funds, have been redirected for housing projects in the state of Vermont. So we're not going to get funding for that portion of that project, which is a little sad, but if they're prioritizing it for housing, perhaps we stand the chance now at the next project, which is 6 South River, the former Hotel Riv site. So hopefully we'll get cleanup funding for that.
Interesting. Any other housing initiatives out there that you've heard about or anything?
No,
No.
Yeah.
sadly, no.
Yeah.
I mean, we're waiting. Again, in the village, we're kind of restricted. There's some properties that
Right.
I think could be rehabbed, either demoed and changed significantly, but there's not a lot of property
Sure.
at this point for that.
Again, just about a year ago, you did get approval on the bond issue for mostly what the expansion of the Swanton Village Electric Department, or
Yeah, so it's moving everybody that has anything to do with the electric department. So when you walk in our offices right now, 120, it's
Yeah.
all of the administrative support staff. On the right, it's my position, it's our grants administrator, and all of the folks that work in the field will move over next door. That does a lot of things, right? It meets our 50-year needs for Swanton Village Electric.
and it finally gives the police department some more room.
Yeah, they
And
can
Public Works.
They can
And
spread
Public
out
Works.
into the area that's now occupied by the admin and Bill, and it gives the Public Works a lot more garage space.
It does. And we're not, we'll make it clear for the public, nobody's out there knocking on a door asking for a bond for remodeling of that location.
Yeah.
They just now have light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, we can afford to patch a wall, to maybe put an extra door in, things like that, but the bigger stuff will have to wait. But that will serve as a hub that could meet regionalized policing needs in the future.
Yeah. And does that work? Will we see that work starting this calendar year
And for the electric
for the
building,
electric building?
April of this year.
So April.
Yes.
Oh, well, so
Yep.
not far away.
Nope, not far.
How
off.
long a time frame for that?
About a year.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
We're working with Connor Construction on that,
Yeah.
and they've been excellent.
Been great.
And of course, the PD's cramped headquarters have been an issue seemingly forever and stuff. And
It's,
So I think since my dad was there in
Oh, yeah, I bet.
1980.
Can you,
Yeah, I
can
mean,
you remember him
Candace-
complaining about that?
yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
candidly, it's an embarrassment.
yeah.
It's really just not functional.
Yeah.
And so even just their ability at no cost to just spread out
Mm-hmm.
and have the chief will have my office, for example.
Right.
They'll actually be able to create a real
Yeah.
interview room.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's going to be good.
I mean, there's certainly no holding cell there or anything, or is there?
There's not,
What do they do if they arrest someone who needs to be held? Can they go to
chain them
North?
to a wall.
She was gonna say the
Can they go to
handcuffs as well.
Northwest State, or what can they do with that person?
After their process.
After
they
their
go.
process.
Yeah, but I mean, in the interim, you have them handcuffed to
Right.
a wall in
Yeah.
a little room.
Yep.
And we'd like to see that change, but again, that's not something we're gonna move on immediately,
Yeah.
in 2027.
Right.
We want to be very thoughtful about how we approach the rehab of the current complex to fit both the needs of the PD and the Public Works Department. So it's going to take, a group of us coming together and sitting down and discussing what our Chief Sullivan's needs, what our dean's needs, our head of our public works, what our dean's needs, and seeing what we can do to make that match. With the new building being constructed and there being a new auditorium that's going to be built in that new building that can be used for voting and whatnot, that gives a good amount of square footage that can be used by the PD. We just need to be very thoughtful about how we carve it up for them.
Right.
Yeah. Legislative issues, the legislature mentioned briefly the education issue, which they're struggling with. Would you like any particular issues you'd like to see the legislature? Can they do anything for the village of Swantonville? Anything in particular?
They've done some. The clean heat standard is going to stay and remain on the wall, and they're not going to take action on that. And at this point, that was going to be a big affordability crisis for the state of Vermont.
Yeah.
Well, it might be a noble end game. Getting there was going to be prohibitively expensive.
Yeah.
So that's at least off the table. No, I think we're hoping that there's some relief for statewide education and the statewide property tax, and that will help alleviate what our citizens are going through. I mean, I hear our trustees talk about it all the time. They've got a tough task to try to deliver what the community needs at a cost that's not going to impact their ability to live in our community.
Yeah. Of course, Republicans fared better in the last election and got some, even out of chairman, Matt Walker's chair of House Transportation Committee, and the Franklin County delegation got some vice chairs too. So,
Yeah, sure.
So we'll see what happens this year. Any thoughts on whether the governor is going to run again, Bill? You got any handle on that?
I hope so.
Well, I got to think. I got to think Republicans must be praying. Well, maybe. The governor seems to be about as popular with Democrats as Republicans, but Republicans don't seem to have a deep bench. But seems like the conventional wisdom, for what little that's worth, is governor's got at least one more term in him. So guess we'll see.
I hope so.
You hope so.
What a record! 15 quarters in a row being the most popular governor in the nation.
Yeah, it's a pretty good track record. Still have about 2.5 minutes left. Suzie, anything you want to jump into that we haven't talked about?
Oh gosh, I don't think
What
so.
about Vermont Council on Rural Development? Certainly had a presence a number of years ago in Swanton. The Swanton Enhancement Project, did that come out of that? But
Oh,
there's
yes.
still some
Yes.
carryover
Yes.
to that?
Oh yeah. We meet quarterly.
Quarterly.
Yeah.
We meet quarterly, and the beautification committee falls under that Swanton Enhancement Project. I think everybody has like their little niche in the enhancement project, but we do good works there. I think the downtown with the flowers that we've been putting out, it looks really nice, and we get some backing from the village, the town, and the enhancement project to go forward. And also. When Earl and Don Taylor, I don't know if you are familiar with them.
I certainly know the names anyway.
Own Taylor Marine in Swanton. When they passed, they bequeathed some money to the beautification project, so we have a bequeath from them. So, but yeah, the enhancement project is still going strong, and we're doing good things.
Boy, Bill, anything, you've covered a lot of ground. Anything in the last minute you want to jump into?
No, I just
Got enough going on?
There's enough going on. I'll close it out with Trustee Kelleher's being very humble. Beautification committee. Everyone that goes through downtown raves about it. So that's a combination of the banners that pay tribute to our people that have served, and especially our fallen soldiers, and then everybody in the summertime. It's gorgeous now. So kudos, because she's the leader of that.
Oh, good for you. Again, we got in 30 seconds, the wastewater project that was approved by voters a few years ago.
Almost
Is that
done.
in pretty good shape?
Yeah, open house.
No, really?
So we
Ribbon cutting.
we had our monthly meeting at 1:00 today. On or about the end of April, completely done.
Yeah.
So, and we will announce, we'll do some open houses for the public, and we'll see who wants to show up. It's not, wastewater's not sexy.
Not sexy,
Yeah.
but very important.
It is.
Very.
Anyway, and you're hoping to get, well, it's turnout. You'd like to see as many people
As
can
many
get out as
people,
possible.
yes, as many people as possible.
Again,
Vote early,
yeah,
but
vote-
only once.
Yes.
Again, Tuesday, March 3rd for the annual village meeting and town meetings. Thanks to Suzie Kelleher, Swanton Village trustee.
Thank you.
Bill Sheets, Swanton Village manager. Thanks a lot for the time.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for having us.
Thanks to my man Alan Cunningham, and I think he had some company out there. Thanks to producer Alan and company. I'm Richard Cowperthwait. We'll see you next time on Northwest Access TV. See ya.